Last week was the first Thursday since September without football, and I was reeling. Everyone else was reeling on Instagram after TikTok went down, but Trump brought it back not even 12 hours later. And speaking of Trump, he was inaugurated on Monday, the same day that Notre Dame lost to OSU. I guess we know which side God chose. An 11-year-old from Los Angeles found the one-of-one Paul Skeens debut patch autograph card. We know he won't take the Pirates offer because he'll only have to wait 5 years before Paul Skeens ends up pitching in a Dodgers uniform. The Dodgers are the new super team and have nearly enough Japanese players to fill the national team's roster. They're the new evil Japanese empire, so every series is going to be like Pearl Harbor for him. Good luck. And much like World War II, Elon Musk is trying to bring back the salute. I mean, honestly, I didn't not see that coming. God, I wonder how many times that's been said already. There were plenty of other things I didn't see coming, however, like going 1 for 3 on my picks for the divisional round of the playoffs. Well, if there's anything I learned this past week, it's that Lou Holtz is still alive.
I have not been wrong yet. And that's unusual for me because that's in the lower third of my high school class.
Make sure to leave a like, comment on each video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hoagies and Pierogis is available everywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, etc., all the good stuff. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram for clips throughout the week. I'm Ian DiCarlo, and this is episode 137 of Hoagies and Pierogis.
Live from Central Pennsylvania with your host Ian DiCarlo, this is Hoagies and Pierogis.
The ski stash! The ski stash!
Welcome to the Big Ten. Beezer's going to drink me. Let's go.
All right, let's start with the biggest free agent news outside of Juan Soto this offseason. Roki Sasaki. Surprise, surprise, he goes to the Dodgers. Is anyone shocked? No, not at all. If there were half as many games in a season over the same amount of time as it takes to play 162, I really think that the Dodgers could have a chance to go undefeated. That rotation is disgusting, but only has like a max innings pitch limit of 130 for each of them. So he's coming over on a significantly discounted contract. He could have waited a couple more years, I think maybe 3 or 4 more years. He probably would have gotten $300 million pretty easily. Honestly, he probably would have gotten more than Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Something needs to change within the structure of how teams pay these players. The Dodgers can't keep landing all of these top free agents. They signed the best reliever available in Tanner Scott to a 4-year, $72 million contract on Sunday. And actually, they re-signed a resurgent Kirby Yates on Tuesday. All of that after landing Roki on Friday night. There is literally nothing stopping them from spending all this money. The luxury tax is not nearly enough to discourage teams from spending as much as they want to. Their payroll for 2025 is an estimated $375 million. That's about $70 million more than the next closest team, the Phillies. The Yankees are the only other team with an expected competitive balance tax number of over $300 million. And you know what? This might be punishing the smaller market teams and the teams that aren't willing to pay up a little bit. But if MLB wants to introduce some type of salary floor, I think all teams should be a certain percentage away from the top spending team. For example, if the top spending team spends $400 million, just as a round number, then the other teams would have to spend at least 30% of that number. 30%, that seems like a good number, right? It almost seems like that wouldn't matter. Well, 30% of $400 million is $120 million. That would force the lowest spending team in the Marlins to pay nearly $45 million more than they already are to players. And then that would force the Pirates to spend nearly another $20 million more. That would go a long way. And the argument here might be like, oh, well, then that will just overinflate contracts. No, if you have to commit this type of money, you bet your ass that teams will do their due diligence on free agents and not just sign random players to lucrative deals way beyond their market value. Santander, 5 years, $92 million. All right, now, Talking Baseball posted a good point in their video that only 6 teams since 2000 have won the World Series with the best record in baseball. Only 6 out of 25. There are 0 small market teams. That's insane. The Florida Marlins were brand new. The Diamondbacks, when they won, were brand new. The only teams outside of big market clubs that got a shot at the World Series were expansion teams. Outside of last year when it was the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, there really has not been a single small market team that has sniffed the World Series. There is a problem with the structure of how players are paid in baseball. Something needs to change to incentivize these clubs to spend more that aren't spending enough. And I don't know what it is. We've gone over it a million times, but something absolutely needs to be done. I think this percentage thing that I cooked up here could work out. So let's move on to college football. What's happened here throughout the week? We found out that Belichick still has not put pen to paper for his UNC contract. That's a little bit worrying, no? I mean, I think he has until like June 1st, I believe, is his buyout date. I just don't understand why it was reported as a done deal if he hasn't even signed the contract yet. Well, speaking of other old kooks, Lou Holtz hates Ohio State and Ryan Day. Should I do it in Lou Holt's voice?
If Notre Dame doesn't win, it's because we want to preserve Ryan Day's job. I was originally going to be at the game in spirit, but now I'll be dragging my body along as well.
Fucking Lou Holtz. I had no idea he was still alive until I saw that tweet. I mean, hell, put Lou Holtz on game day instead of Lee Corso. He seemed more lucid and could memorize a paragraph better than I could at this point.
But the fact is, I thought weeks ago that the two best teams that would meet, looking at the bracketing, was Ohio State and Notre Dame. This should be a classic matchup, and it's for the national championship. One thing for sure, to finish second in the country is not a great accomplishment. Trust me, finish second quite often. However, a couple weeks later, you look back and say, boy, what a great accomplishment we had to finish second. But the night of the championship, there will only be one winner. The best football team in the country is Ohio State. They have a great coaching staff. I think their defense coordinator is outstanding, and Chip Kelly's done a good job with the offense, and Coach Day does not get the credit he should deserve for the tremendous accomplishments he's had. However, they have the highest paid NIL. They have a great team. They're very talented on offense and defense. The list goes on and on. But I believe the University of Notre Dame will prevail in this football game. Not because we have the best football team, but I think we have the best culture. Culture will beat talent each and every time. People think I'm anti-Ohio State. Nothing could be further from the truth. I was raised in the state of Ohio. I went to college at Kent State in Ohio. Our motto, we can't read, we can't write, but we are Kent State. We're Notre Dame and they ain't. And I use the word ain't for emphasis, not to illustrate the caliber of education I received at Kent State University. So thank you for watching me. Let's hope I'm right.
All right, let's get into this national championship. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Coco Jones, holy wow. All right, Riley Leonard is such a good runner. That was some balls to go for it on fourth down to midfield on that first drive. And Ohio State could not stop Leonard at all on these designed QB runs, not QB sneaks. Notre Dame did it all the way into the end zone to go up 7-0, and it was the first time that Ohio State had trailed the whole playoffs. And then there was a hard-fought drive to answer back from OSU. Jeremiah Smith made it 7-7 at the start of the second quarter. And Christian Gray saw that all the way. He was freaking out. If you're not going to take a timeout, at least give him the freedom to guard Jeremiah Smith coming out of the backfield. His receiver already had a defender on him. So, I mean, when you see that wide open with no one on Smith, you take that liberty of going out there and risking something else happening. Then penalties on the second drive killed Notre Dame. They had to punt. And Judkins slammed it right in and picked up right where he left off. That was a huge pickup for them in the transfer portal this year. 14-7 Ohio State. But on the next drive, Notre Dame was letting the pressure get to them a little bit. They were very lucky to get a botch snap back, but then they had to punt it right away. And Notre Dame with these, I don't know if they're blown coverages, but just players that weren't accounted for at all. Judkins was wide open in the end zone on this one to make it 21-7. The threat of Will Howard scrambling was pulling in Notre Dame's defense, and they could not stop the pass. It was 21-7 Ohio State at halftime. And then early in the third quarter, Judkins again, boom, almost broke away, but got in anyway for his third touchdown of the game. Ohio State was up 28-7. Then Notre Dame had a 4th and 2, down 28-7. And by the way, they just completely abandoned Riley Leonard running the ball after that first drive. And they did not run it here for some reason, did not go for it. Why would you not keep the offense on the field rather than go for the fake punt? I don't understand that at all for the reasons that I just specified. Notre Dame was beating themselves at that point. After that, I turned it off and I went to sleep. It was clear that Notre Dame was not serious about winning at that point. But checked up on the game in the morning. It did seem like Notre Dame did a better job on offense in the second half, but Ohio State was just way too much for them to handle. OSU came into the playoffs on the butt end of everyone's jokes, including mine, but now there's really nothing but congratulations to give. The Big Ten wins back-to-back championships for the first time since 1940/1942. What the hell? That's so long ago. Ohio State has now won the first ever 14 playoff and first ever 12-team playoff. So no major changes have been set for the 25-26 season. As was already established, but I didn't know, the Big Ten and SEC will basically have sole control of the landscape of college football starting in 2026. So I really don't expect anything to change next year. An unknown number of the 11 commissioners that comprise the college football playoff committee right now actually like the way that it's currently structured, with the top 4 conference champions getting the bye. So I really don't think anything's going to change until 2026. Congratulations to Ohio State.
Good. Got that first one. Trying to get 3 more. 2 more.
The freaking overhit. They still covered the spread, but I parlayed the under in there. God damn it. It's just a terrible, terrible week for betting. Okay, let's get right into the divisional round. I was going to go over something for the Patriots, but we'll save that for next week after we're trying to scramble for things to talk about. Hell, we might even save it until after the Super Bowl. All right, divisional round, Saturday. First game up, Texans at Chiefs. The Rizzler was in the building on the Chiefs side, and the game was over before it even started. Oh, no.
Go Chiefs! Look what is behind me right now. The whole entire stadium. I'm so excited for the game. The field is so big, I can barely fit on it. The Chiefs have maximum aura, maximum risk. If you don't like the Chiefs, we can't be friends.
And that was a great kickoff return to start the game for the Chiefs with an added unsportsmanlike conduct to put them at the 13-yard line. Why the hell did Boyd shove the special teams coordinator like that after he threw his helmet down? I get it. You're excited. You thought that you did something to help the team. Everyone actually thought that he was mad because the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty was on him for throwing down his helmet. Why would you ever shove someone that hard? And it looked like he was surprised by it. But D'Amico Ryans did defend him the next day and was like, no, like that was just done out of passion. It was a little bit too much passion. The special teams coordinator looked like he was like very caught off guard by it. But the Texans defense held the Chiefs there, and they only came away with a -1 yards. Texans defense was looking good. Then there were some good chunk plays for the Texans on their next drive. They tied up the game 3-3, and it looked like Stroud rolled his ankle a little bit on that last play of the drive. I don't know if, actually thinking about that now, I don't know if that affected him the rest of the game or not. I think it might have. He was very immobile on third down. I was liking what I was seeing from the Texans run defense at that point. But the bullshit was already starting. Oh my God. Roughing the passer. Face masks did not even touch. Fuck helmet to helmet. The face masks didn't even touch. He went straight into the chest of Mahomes. Are you fucking kidding me? Without that roughing the passer, the Chiefs would have had 0 points there, but instead they get a field goal to go up 6-3. Well, after Will Anderson got that roughing the passer, he was making his presence known. He was a monster. That was a great sack by him to get the Chiefs to punt with 11:30 left in the half. Him and Jared Verse are the future of defensive linemen, or edge rushers, I guess I should say. Here I wrote down the Texans were getting fucked by the refs, and I think that put them out of field goal range, and they missed it. The Chiefs actually found the end zone on the next drive to go up 13-3, but it really did not feel like a 10-point game, basically even in yards in time of possession at that point. But it was the freaking refs that were the difference in this one. The Texans got 3 before halftime, so that it was 13-6, and they got the ball to open the second half. And actually, it had a great drive coming out of halftime. This took 9:24 off the clock. But Fairbairn missed the extra point, 13-12 Chiefs, and that was his second missed field goal of the day. Well, first missed field goal and then a missed extra point. If it wasn't the refs fucking him, it was Fairbairn doing a pretty good job of it. It was still 13-12 going into the fourth quarter, but then Mahomes with some Mahomes shit after flopping. If you look up Mahomes touchdown pass in the dictionary, this is the kind of throw that will show up. 18 postseason touchdown connections between Mahomes and Kelsey. This made it 20-12 Chiefs. And then here the Texans, what are you doing? Let a rusher come right through, completely untouched on third down, and then didn't call a timeout as they were hurrying to the line on 4th and 10 as the play clock was expiring. What the fuck are you doing? They deserve to turn it over on downs there. What the hell was that? And this is where Stroud's rolled ankle might have come into play. With 8:39 left to go, the Texans got the Chiefs to go 3 and out. Stroud could have run it for the first down or threw it right in front of him rather than trying to throw it 15 yards down the field. It was a pitiful attempt at trying to mount a comeback. They went 3 and out immediately. After that horrible decision from Stroud, they decided to only punt the ball to their side of the field, which gave the Chiefs a chance to score right away. There were 7:35 left at that point, and Kareem Hunt was icing it. It was 23-12 with just over 5 minutes left, and I had the Texans minus 8.5, so it was not looking good. They were down by 11. And then again, why the hell would you not let it go to the 2-minute warning here? What the fuck is wrong with you Texans? That's where the Wonderlic comes into play. The second time you were trying to catch them off guard or something, and you just completely wasted a down. After that bullshit, they lined up for the field goal to try to put the game within 8 points and to get me my 8.5. Nope, Kaimi Fairbairn was blocked. What the fuck? Fuck you, goddamn it. That would have been the cover. Now they lose by 11 instead of 8. Fuck you, Chiefs. I hope the Bills blow the doors off of you. And then the Texans got the safety just to rub it in my face a little bit more to lose by 9. A combination of the refs and Kaimi Fairbairn shitting the bed was the recipe for disaster for the Texans. Some questionable decisions on that last drive from Stroud. To put it in a little more context, teams were 49-0 when outgaining their opponents by 100 yards with 0 turnovers in the playoffs. The Texans are the first team to lose. They should have beat the spread, at the very least. So Chiefs won that game 23-14. I got it right, but that was the only game that I picked right of the weekend. You must have been mad if you were a Lions fan because the average price of a ticket for this game was $855. We did find out this past week that Zane Gonzalez has OCD, which is why he was fixing his hair like 20 times before he put on his helmet. But too bad his OCD isn't bad enough to kick it in bounds every time. Right off the bat, he kicked it out of bounds on the opening kickoff, giving the Lions great field position like they needed the help. But they went 3 and out, and I was already getting a bad feeling about the Lions. And then this was weird. They need to stop doing this and learn from their mistakes so far. The Commanders were driving, but then they gave the Lions the same look that they gave the Bucs last week at the end of the game with Mariota in and Jaden Daniels set out wide, except they actually snapped the ball this time, and Mariota is so bad that he can't flip the ball back to Jaden Daniels. It was bad last week and even worse this week. That completely killed any momentum that they had, and they came away with nothing on their first drive. The Lions made sure to not let that stop go to waste, and it was 7-0 with Gibbs picking up right where he left off. But the Commanders' offense was looking pretty good, even though they only came away with 3 after the Lions touchdown, so it was 7-3. But oh no, then the Lions fumbled the ball. That was the beginning of the end. That was something that we didn't see in the first game at all, was a turnover. The Commanders took advantage, and Robinson walked it right in, 10-7. But then the Lions marched it right back down the field. Gibbs got in again, 14-10 Lions. This was a shootout. Terry McLaurin, are you kidding me? 58-yard touchdown, 17-14 Commanders. And then right away, what the hell was happening? All hell broke loose. Jared Goff was intercepted. Pick 6. Oh my God, it was 24-14 Commanders. What the hell was happening? On that pick 6, Goff was smacked. And then Teddy Bridgewater actually had to come into the game on the next drive. And on that same drive, as if it weren't crazy enough, Jamison Williams, 61-yard end around for the touchdown. 24-21 Commanders. This game was on drugs. And then Diami Brown. Oh my God. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you need to shut up about him and give him some damn respect. Commanders were feasting with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. And then it was Ertz's turn to get into the end zone. 31-21 Commanders. Holy shit. And it wasn't even halftime. But then Goff was intercepted in the end zone to end the half. They were driving. Lions came away with no points there. Oh, the Lions were shitting the bed. It was 31-21 at halftime. This was the first playoff game with 600-plus yards in the first half since Super Bowl 52. And then the Commanders went 3-and-out to start the half. Then there was a phantom face mask to give the Lions a new set of downs on the next drive. And then this was where more Ben Johnston genius is coming into play. Toss back to Montgomery. Then Montgomery shovel passed it forward to St. Brown. This is, the most creative stuff I have ever seen in game coming from Ben Johnson. Gibbs found the end zone again after that play, and it was 31-28 Commanders. Lions were coming back. But then on the next drive, Lions had 12 men on the field on fourth down, which with a half distance to the goal was enough to give the Commanders a first down there. And Robinson walked it right in again. 38-28 Commanders. It was getting real for him. And man, I don't know about always playing by this rule of thumb, but don't do trick plays when you're down by at least 10. The worst possible things can happen, and the worst possible thing did happen. Jameson Williams was intercepted on the trick play, and he should have never thrown that ball into double coverage. It was just a terrible decision. Then on the next drive, Eckler with the breakaway run. McLaurin converted it on 4th and 2 from the inside the 5-yard line. McNichols punched it in then. That was game right there. It had to be. 45-28 Commanders with half of the fourth quarter left to go at that point. The only other thing that the Lions did in the game was get a field goal. So the final score of the game was 45-31. Commanders upset the Lions. Holy shit, this was an insane game with an offensive explosion in the second quarter. There were 1,002 total yards of offense in this one. You couldn't ask for much more. I said it a few weeks ago after the Bills game and then again after the 49ers game that the Lions defense had been pretty bad with so many injuries, and they were just giving up way too many yards and way too many points, as evidenced here. I think the Commanders had just under 500. I think they ended up with 487 yards total. 45 total points. Yeah, along with the 5 total turnovers from the Lions, never, ever, ever going to win a game like that. Goff had 3 interceptions and a fumble, and then Jameson Williams had that interception on the trick play. That was bad. So after this, as expected, the Lions are now losing all of their coordinators, and not just the main ones. They're supposedly losing their defensive line coach. So this did turn out to be true. On Wednesday, Terrell Williams was named as the defensive coordinator for the Patriots. Ben Johnson goes interdivisional and goes to the Bears to work with Caleb Williams. Now, I think a lot of people are expecting great things here. But I think it's hilarious that everyone in the comments is like, they're still going to suck, they're still going to suck, they're still going to suck. Let's see what he does with no offensive line whatsoever. Pretty easy to make creative plays when you have a good offensive line. But if Caleb doesn't succeed under Ben Johnson, there's zero hope for him. And we actually learned that the Bears called the Steelers to inquire about a trade for Mike Tomlin. But then we also found out that Mike Tomlin has a no-trade clause built into his contract. I guess a couple other teams came asking too. But then the Jets are dead set on not letting Aaron Glenn leave the building. He did, though, and he was supposed to go to the Saints tomorrow, but because of the weather, and it's supposed to be like -6 degrees tonight or some bullshit, the interview was postponed in person until Wednesday. Aaron Glenn still has a chance to sign with the Jets before tomorrow, so we'll see. As it turns out, the Jets didn't let Aaron Glenn leave the building as he was named head coach on Wednesday. I mean, it's not like he could have left the Meadowlands. Everything was frozen. I am very curious to see what the Lions will look like next year with all of their coaches just depleted. Hell of a season for the Lions, but 15-2 means pretty much nothing when you don't win the big one. All right, Rams-Eagles. This was a good game. Immediately, Hurts broke away, and the Eagles were off to a hot start, but they missed the extra point, and they were up 6-0. The Rams almost got fucked by the refs, and it would have been a 3-and-out if not challenged by McVay. Instead, they made their way down the field in 13 plays to get the touchdown and took the lead with a made extra point to go up 7-6. Now, on the next drive, after an early sack, Braden Fisk was actually taken out of the game, and he would not return because of his knee injury. That was a huge loss for the Rams. And I don't know if it was because Fisk was out, but then Barkley broke off for a 62-yard touchdown to the house. 13-7 now. And they were, at this point in the game, they were ragging on Jared Verse for saying that he hates Eagles fans. But did they not see the video of the Eagles fan berating the other Packers fan who got fired for what he said? The snow is starting to come down at the end of the first quarter after a great catch by Robinson from the Rams. The Rams only got 3, and the snow was coming down after the start of the second quarter. Very heavy snow. 13-10 Eagles. And man, Jared Verse may be known among Eagles fans, but he might be known on a national level now. He absolutely bullied that second defensive lineman trying to block him while navigating around the other for a sack. He was incredible. So then the Eagles had to punt. The Rams worked their way to midfield, but had to take a punt of their own because the snow was seriously starting to get in the way. Their receivers could not see anything. Still 13-10 with just over 5 minutes left in the half. So the Eagles got the ball back, but Hurts got sacked 2 more times before the end of the half. And it was still 13-10. And the weather did favor the Eagles more with Hurts and Barkley, but the Rams were dialing it in on defense like they did last week. So then a couple 3-and-outs traded to start the second half. The Rams made their way into a goal-to-go situation, but the Eagles defense held them to a field goal. About halfway through the third quarter, the Eagles got another field goal to go up 16-13. But before that, Hurts' knee got all contorted up on the second to last play before the field goal. That looked like it hurt really, really bad. Like I said, the weather was affecting the receivers. Puka couldn't hold on to the balls. The Rams had to punt. But then there was a safety, so then it made it 16-15 right away. But there's no more punt on the free kick. It's not a punt for the free kick. It's just the regular kickoff now from the 20 instead of the 35. Come on. And it's the same bullshit rule, too. So then it goes into the fourth quarter with the Rams, and the Rams have the ball, but then they fumble it on the first play of the fourth quarter, and the Eagles were doing snow angels in the end zone. That was the game's first turnover, and it proved to be the most costly one because Saquon got it in to put the Eagles up 23-15. Except he didn't. Oh, shit. A tush push in the snow looks awesome, but then they got a false start on the tush push, so they didn't make it in the end zone at all. They had to settle for the field goal. It was only 19-15 instead of 23-15. And after the Rams get it back, they must have all been frozen, and their hands must have been completely numb because they fumbled the ball again, giving it right back to the Eagles with 11 minutes left. Jake Elliott got another field goal to put him up 22-15. And then, man, the Rams, ice blocks, couldn't do anything. 3-and-out. Saquon, home run, 28-15 after a missed second extra point. But then the Rams wasted no time and got in the end zone with 2:48 left, 28-22. And then 25 seconds later, the Rams got the ball back after forcing the Eagles to go 3-and-out. That was a great stand for the Rams, but unfortunately, the snow started to pick up again right as they were trying to mount a comeback. It was a great effort for them. They got all the way down to the 14-yard line, but they could not convert on a fourth down. Matthew Stafford sailed it over Puka's head, and that's the final. 28-22. 205 yards and 2 touchdowns for Saquon, 5th most rushing yards in playoff history. That's the reason they went out and got him. Now, the Ravens were hoping for the same thing when they went out and got Derrick Henry, but they decided to use him sparingly. He had 16 carries in the game. He definitely could have had more. Last game of the weekend, we got the Bills and the Ravens. The Ravens made it look easy and went right down for 7, but then the Bills answered right back, making it look nearly as easy. The game was tied at 7 very fast. And what do you know? Lamar uncorked that ball for the easiest interception of that Bills defender's life. We have Lamar Favre Jackson back for the playoffs. The Bills couldn't take advantage of it and punted it away. End of the first quarter, shortly after the Ravens got the ball back. And then Lamar fumbled the ball. This was the beginning of the end. What are you doing? It just popped out of his hand pretty easily. Hold on to the goddamn ball. I don't know what he was doing, just swinging it out there like a loaf of bread. Isaiah likely influences him way too much when it comes to holding on to the ball like that. Then Josh Allen rumbled it in. Bills were up 14-7. Ravens settled for a field goal after horrible play calling inside the 5-yard line. I don't think Derrick Henry saw it once. 14-10 Bills still. And then Josh Allen got it in again before halftime to put the Bills up 21-10. Largest halftime deficit for the Ravens this year. Bills went 3-0 to start the second half, but the Ravens just seemed unprepared. They really did. A false start sets them back, and they're lucky to hit the 47-yard field goal. It was 21-13 at that point. Bills punted again. Ravens defense got a good talking to at halftime, apparently. And then where was this Ravens offense the whole time? Run it, run it, run it. Derrick Henry got it in for the touchdown, but the 2-point conversion was unsuccessful. Why did you not just run it in with Derrick Henry? It was working the whole drive. 21-19 Bills. Bass nailed the 51-yard field goal to put the Bills up 24-19 in the fourth quarter. And Mark Andrews' first fuck up of the game, fumbled the ball after he should have just went down. I don't know what he was trying to do, fight for extra yards there. There were 3 defenders around him. Just go down. The Bills got the ball at midfield with 8:41 left. And the Bills were held to a field goal on the next drive, and that was very important for the Ravens because they were still only down by 8, 27-19. I bet they wish they would have just kicked that extra point instead of going for 2 to try to tie the game earlier. Instead of starting at their own 33-yard line after their turn, they had to start at the 11 for this last drive because of a holding call. Ravens just shooting themselves in the foot. 2-minute warning rolled along. Ravens had the ball in the Buffalo territory. And they needed to slow the fuck down. They have barely been running the ball. They were just passing it almost exclusively on the last drive. And this was just way too fast. Isaiah Likely touchdown grab right away. I mean, this was almost immediately right out of the 2-minute break. And Mark Andrews, fuck up number 2. This one with the game on the line. He could not hold on to the ball and did not get into the end zone, 27-25. But why? Why would you not just run it in with Derrick Henry? This is when I found out that Derrick Henry has not got a single 2-point conversion attempt the whole year. So now I understand not wanting to go for him earlier because he never had any practice doing it. I don't get it. Why would you go out and sign Derrick Henry and not have him run in a single 2-point conversion the whole year? The Bills got the onside kick, and they just kneeled it out. The Ravens shit the bed a lot like the Lions, just way too many turnovers when it mattered. No Zay Flowers sucked for Lamar. I think that took away a lot of the quicker passes that the tight ends just aren't fast enough for. That 2-point conversion might have gone to Flowers instead of Andrews on the exact same play. Too often was Lamar just chucking it up to Bateman because that's all Bateman can do. And he can only do it well 50% of the time. I don't know. I think they win this game with Flowers. But Lamar was just making stupid decisions like he did in that championship game against the Chiefs. I don't know what the hell he was doing. But honestly, either way, there was just way too much time on the clock after that touchdown, and the Bills had all 3 of their timeouts, so I'm sure that they would have easily gotten to field goal range to win the game, especially with Bass being on point. Lamar is now 3-5 in the playoffs. I had no stake in any of these games, yet it feels like I got punched in the gut. I'm taking this shit way too seriously. I need to stop betting and just have fun with it. 1-3 this week, and we are 5-5 overall for the playoffs, for the NFL playoffs. 10-1 for the college football playoffs. Not bad. But 5-5 for this one is horrible already. So I'm just going to go with my heart. I'm not going to go with my head. I'm going to go with the Commanders over the Eagles and the Bills over the Chiefs. Straight up. This one, the Commanders-Eagles game is tough, though. They exchanged games in the regular season, but I think the Eagles would have probably just won the second game straight up, if not for Hurts coming out of the game with a concussion. But the Commanders are the ones putting up all the points, and they're used to playing in Philly, so I'm going to go Commanders. And then for the AFC Championship, just Bills. I swear to God, just beat the Chiefs. I really do think that the Bills have a better chance to beat the Chiefs than the Ravens would, just because they're more careful with the ball, as evidenced by that game on Sunday night. So I am going Bills in this one. Allen is a lot more mobile than Stroud is and should be able to avoid the heavy blitzes the Chiefs like to bring on third down. The Bills' defense is going to be dialed in on that Mahomes-Kelsey connection that was killing the Texans in clutch situations. So Commanders in the NFC, Bills in the AFC. Please, God, please just let the Bills win, if anything. Please. All right. I know that Kevin O'Connell was extended while we were recording here, so what else happened? Brittany Griner is going to test the free agent market for the first time in her career, but we already know she's worth as much as a Russian arms dealer. However much that is, it's probably more than the WNBA can afford. And I'll just mention this now, but I'll go more in depth on it next week or whenever we go over that Robin Glasser stuff with the Patriots. But the Patriots are expected to bring back Josh McDaniels as their offensive coordinator. I don't want to say it was a given because Vrabel has never worked with McDaniels before, but it was the obvious choice. Apparently, Arthur Smith was on that short list of offensive coordinators to bring in, so I'm just glad it was not him. I would have killed myself. All right, outside of the sports world, if you haven't watched already, please go watch Dave Chappelle's monologue for the opening of SNL. It was incredible. Very funny. Great message at the end. Go watch it. I don't care if you don't like Dave Chappelle or not. Watch it. All right, and I am going to start putting this at the top of the episodes permanently. But make sure to, so you're going to be hearing it twice. Make sure to leave a like and comment on each video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hoagies and Pierogis is available on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram for clips throughout the week. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you, Trump. Thanks, Trump. And we'll leave you with this. Munch.
Live from Central Pennsylvania with your host Ian DiCarlo, this is Hoagies and Pierogis.
The ski stash! The ski stash! Welcome to the Big Ten. Beijers go drink, man. Let's go!